All right, what's up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast weekly real estate tip. And today I'm here to talk to you about something extremely important. One of the biggest mistakes that I see real estate professionals making inside their real estate business is not giving things the adequate time that we need to give them to go out there and create success. And look, I get it, man. We want things now. Everybody wants 6 minute abs. We're used to being this Amazon one click things show up at your door same day world. So we want that instant gratification. But when it comes to our real estate business, there is nothing instant. Now there are there are strategies that can lead to more quicker business, more now business. So you got kind of more immediate, then you got long-term strategies, but we got to make sure that we are prepping properly and giving things the ample time that are necessary to go out there and succeed. So today I want to walk you through what this looks like, how to do this, give you an in-depth example of what I mean by this. And it's not just making sure that we give it the right time. We got to have the right consistent action. So that means you got to have the right strategies, adopt the right skill set. So we're doing the right things in the right way, with the right frequency, with the right consistency, and give those things the adequate amount of time necessary to go out there and create the results that we want to create. So it's right, consistent actions done consistently over time that result into success. So we got to make sure. Most are like, I have conversations all the time with real estate agents that are maybe struggling, that reach out to me for some help, for some guidance. And I'll ask them, okay, well, walk me through what you're doing. Well, I did this. Okay, well, how long did you do that for? Well, I did it for, a month. Didn't see any results, walked away from it. Okay, then I did this thing. Okay, maybe they did this thing for 90 days, but maybe they give it 90 days. Well, maybe that medium that they're going after, even if they do everything right, takes about a year. A common conversation that I have with realtors is like, oh, dude, I want to blow up my business through YouTube, Instagram. And then I'm like, okay, how long can you go without a paycheck before you're in trouble? 4 months. Okay, here's the conundrum. Those things, if you everything right and don't make one mistake, we're talking about a year before you're going to start seeing good, consistent income. I'm not saying not do those things, but maybe we also should stack some things or a thing that can start getting you business in the next 3 to 4 months. I mean, closings the next 3 to 4 months while working on the longer term play. So you give yourself enough time to build that up, because otherwise you're gonna be out of money and having to drop out of the business before you're able to see the fruits of the labors with those things. So we got to do the right consistent action with enough time that's given. It's time over task, right? So you got to give up this whole impatient mentality. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't operate with urgency day to day. Like, I want to get as much done and be as productive every single day as I possibly can. But then I'm going to look at the strategy I'm doing. I'm going to make sure to also do my due diligence, do my research, understand the average time that it takes to get results with that. And I'm going to plan accordingly to give myself that ample time that I need. So I'm setting myself up for success versus failure. So I want to dive into this with you guys here today. Now, real quick before I do so, if you are a real estate agent, if you are a team leader, if you are a brokerage owner, I don't care if you're brand new or if you're closing 500 plus units every single year, if you are a driven real estate professional, I want to partner with you. And if you want to learn more about what a partnership would look like with me at EXP, where you get 100% full free access to all my coaching, all my training, all my mentorship, all my guidance, as well as my business partner, Mike Sherrard, who's hands down the best in the industry when it comes to social media, AI, growing your business through YouTube. So you get all of our coaching, all of our support, all of our training 100% for free if you decide to partner with us at EXP. Now, if you want to learn more about what this opportunity looks like, there's going to be a link below. So whether you're watching this on YouTube or you're listening to this on audio, it's going to be in the show notes or the description. There's going to be a top link where you can schedule a 100% confidential, 100% zero pressure call with me personally. And when I say zero pressure, look, I'm not here to recruit you. I only want to roll with people that want to roll with me. I'm going to walk you through, hey, here's what we got. Here's how we work. Here's how we operate. Here's all the tools, systems, coaching, training that we do. Here would be our roadmap, our game plan to ensure that you are dominating your real estate goals. Answer any questions that you have at the end of that call. If you think we're a fit for you, awesome. If not, that is okay too. We can still be friends. You have my word on that. So there's a link below to go out there and do that. All right. So again, we're here to talk about today of how do we set the right expectations? So we're setting ourselves up for success versus failure. How do we set those right expectations to go out there and create success? So one thing I want you to remember, the game that we are playing. Now, there's a game like kind of when we're wearing our real estate hat, but I mean, when we're looking at this as operators, as business owners, what is the game that we need to really master and focus when it comes to real estate? This is a game of strategy, skill set, systems and processes, and then leverage. So we're going to start off with strategy. You got to make sure that you have the right strategy, because look, you can do things consistently over time, but if you're doing them wrong, if you're doing them shitty, that doesn't help either. got to be doing the right consistent things with the right amount of time and the right frequency, time on task with the right activities. That's what leads to results. So when I talk about strategy, this is just, okay, what is my overall effective plan? Proven effective plan. Like, no need to go and reinvent the wheel. There's things that others are doing. When I'll give you an example here today, but it's like, look, if I wanted to go out there and start making 50 grand a month through free Facebook groups or a free Facebook group for my community, okay, I'm going to go out there and model after Nalika. I just had her on the podcast, and I'll break that down. I want to go into her story a little bit because it just proves and articulates this point. Maybe you already listened to that podcast because I just released it last week. But okay, like, I'm not gonna go spend the years figuring this out. She's already cracked the code, right? So okay, I can go make sure that I'm learning how to do this from her in the right way, or reverse engineer what she's doing. So then I know the right way to go out this. So strategy is just, what is my overall effective proven plan that if I follow this, I'm going to get results, right? Then the second layer to that is skill set. What is the skill set and or skill sets that I need to hone in and dial in to have success with this particular strategy? Because look, scaling a Facebook group is a different strategy than if I'm doing paid Facebook ads or paid Google pay-per-click ads, right? It's a different skill set versus if I'm cold calling, or if I'm door knocking, or if I'm doing open houses, or if I'm doing Zillow, or if I'm doing YouTube or Instagram or TikTok. They can all require, I mean, some don't need different, like, okay, my skill set for cold calling can transition over into door knocking. But so some, like, you can, tie in those same skill sets. But overall, it's like, okay, different things require different skill sets. So we need to identify, okay, what is, based on this strategy plan, what is this skill sets that I need to learn to go out there and master? And the skill sets might be, hey, you need to learn this specific system. You might learn to speak in this specific way. You might need to, there's just all these different things when it comes to skill set, all right, so then from there, making sure that you have the supporting systems and processes, right? So processes are just documented step-by-step actions that we are taking to execute on our strategy plan the same way each and every single time. So it's like, here's step one, here's step two, here's step three, here's step four. And if I follow this every day, that's a checklist, right? So make sure that I'm not missing anything. Everything's done the same way each and every single time, so things don't get missed, so it can be duplicatable, replicatable, and so forth. Then systems are just where our processes live, to make sure that our processes are done same way each and every single time, to do them also more effectively and efficiently. So just think of, the system is the cookbook. Inside the cookbook, you got all these recipes. The processes are the recipes. The system is the cookbook where all those recipes live, right? So then now you can always access it and make sure you're following the right processes over and over and over, right? Then from there, eventually, okay, you might need leverage. If you want to continue to grow and scale your business, like you're popping 4 deals a month, you want to go to 8 deals a month, like you're going to need some help. You're going to need some admin help, and then eventually maybe showing agents, showing partners, licensed boots on the ground, or agents, right? Depending on which way you want to go out there and build your team and build that leverage component. All right, so let's dive into strategy, right? A little bit deeper here, and giving things enough time. So this is where, like, when I look at, okay, when I get this lead, on average, how long is, like, what's the energy and effort that it takes me to generate a lead? Then from there, I'm going to be tracking, on average, how long does it take for that lead to become a client? And then from there, we all, hopefully are tracking how long, from client to closing to commission check in hand. So that way I'm able to set a realistic expectation of time frame. It's like when I get agents that will come to me saying, Josh, I want to do paid Facebook ads. Now, paid Facebook ads has been a massive portion of my business for a long time. Since about 2015, I've spent about $2 million in my own real estate business by running ads, and it's a huge ROI. It's been very great for us. But it's not the Facebook lead that creates the success. Yeah, you got to know how to set up your ads. You got to know exactly how to run your ads. But then from there, like with Facebook, man, it's about the follow-up protocol, right? Because it's a long-term nurture source. So the average Facebook lead, this is average, is in my CRM at 6.7 months before they become a client, and 9 months on average before a closing, right? So now I can start setting those expectations. When I get people that are like, oh, I want to start doing Facebook ads, like, what should I set my budget to be? Okay, whatever you can afford to spend daily, weekly, monthly, like whatever that budget is, for at least at a minimum the next 9 months. Or if you don't get any closings, have any revenue coming in, it doesn't hurt you. That's your starting budget. And then once you start getting consistent business coming in from that, okay, let's just say I'm doing a deal a month, making 10 grand a month, right? And I'm getting at least a 400% ROI on my return of whatever I'm paying for Facebook, then I'll double my ad spend. So I'm scaling based on revenue. So I'm always leading with revenue with that, but it allows me to set, again, those realistic expectations, based on that lead source. So I'm not just running leads for 90 days and be like, oh, this is shit, this is junk, this doesn't work. And I see so many agents doing that. So again, whether it's open houses, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook, whether it's, and then within Facebook, you got all these different mediums to grow your Facebook. I just released a video recently about the 5 different most effective strategies that are working today on Facebook. So all these different ways, but they're going to have different timelines. So let me go into a story here with Nalika, the interview that I just released last week. So Nalika, who I've known Nalika for half her life. I've known her since she was in high school. Right. She started off with me as a transaction coordinator, then switched that position and joining my team as an agent, quickly became rookie of the year, just exploded, then built a mega team and then built a brokerage. And now she's partnering with me at EXP, her and her husband. So we're talking about, she's got a strategy now. And this is just one. She's got multiple different strategies that she does. So we're just talking about one strategy. So I'm not saying this is all the closings that she does, because she closes more deals and has more revenue coming in from other sources as well. So just one of her strategies, she averages like minimum 3 closings a month. Her best is around 5. So, but she's averaging, if you break down the hard numbers, 50 grand a month in commissions from just a Facebook community group. Now with that, okay, you got the Facebook community group. That's the medium. So then from there, now I got to start chunking down. Okay, well, what do you do in that group? Yeah, right. And there's multiple phases to this. Okay, number one, if you got a group, community group, you got to add people, right? So you got to add people. If there's no people in the group, it's irrelevant. So we start chunking down in the podcast interview, which I encourage all of you to go out there and check out if you haven't checked out. If you're watching this on YouTube, at the end of this video, I have on the end screen that pop up, so you could just click on it to go to watch it, check it out. So then from there, it's like, okay, like number one, like if you have a group that has no people in it, it's irrelevant. So I break down all these things out, like how did you grow it? Because she had the group now for about 3.5 years. She just hit 10,000 people inside that group in her community. And she's in a small market. Like the city that she lives in is small, it's rural, right? So it's not like she's in, I don't know, Los Angeles, California, right? So it took her 3.5 years to hit 10,000. Right. So we start breaking down. Okay, well, what did you do? How are you intentional on feeding people into that group, right? How are you adding human beings into that group so they can have the awareness and see what it is that you're posting? Then from there, okay, how do you work the group? How do you manage the group? Like what are you posting? How consistently are you posting? What are you allowing others to post? How are you encouraging engagement to post? What do you do with local business owners? All of that stuff, being very strategic with this stuff, right? So strategy, remember, is your overall effective plan. Because again, you can be executing consistently on a shitty plan and get shitty results. I don't care how hard you're sprinting. If you're sprinting east, you're never gonna. If you're sprinting, I don't care how hard you're sprinting. I screwed that one up. I don't care how hard you're sprinting. If you're chasing the sunset and you're sprinting east, you're never going to find it, right? You got to make sure that you're running hard, but you're running in the right direction. So then from there, so we break down, okay, like how did you strategically grow the group? Like how did you go from 0 to, 10,000, people in that group in 3.5 years, right? And one of the ways was, as an example, she went out to local business owners and like she said, instead of me just going to them and be like, oh, I'm a local realtor and talk about real estate, it's, hey, I've got this community group for our city that's open to all members in our city that talks about things going on in the community events, all of that stuff. I'd like to invite you where, and there I'm sure there's parameters, but like let's just say once a week or so forth, you can post and add any specials, any like promoting your own local business. So okay, now you're getting these business owners in their groups, and then you're getting business owners to promote and put up flyers of the group. Yeah, right, with QR codes for people to go join the group. Yeah, right. Then they're flyering everybody in the city, with that. And then plus, doing there's other strategies that she goes through of how they grew the group. But okay, number one, it's like, okay, how do I grow the group? Number two, how do I engage in the group to keep people coming back to the group? Right. So to keep it of value to people, because if I'm just spamming with real estate shit, like they're going to bounce out of the group, right? Like they need to have value to the group that's non-real estate specific. Okay. Well, then from there, how do you incorporate real estate stuff in the group to generate real estate clients? Right. So then from there, then what are you doing with them? Right. So what I always want you thinking about is, okay, we got these activities that we're doing to generate a lead. And that's what a lot of agents are obsessed with, but then they don't pick up the second part of what I'm about to say here. And this is why so many struggle so massively in our industry. One of the primary reasons is they're not focused in, okay, now I've got this lead. What are every single steps that I must do? What's the step-by-step process, step-by-step protocol that I must do to take them from lead to client, right? So don't think about just how do I generate this lead. Think about from inception of lead, right? Then all the way through. So how do I generate the lead? Then inception of lead all the way through client, right? Like what must happen for me to maximize conversions? So then we're like, okay, she does these property posts in the group twice a week. Doesn't include price, doesn't include, address. So it's just a property post, photos, all the information. But then she gets, tons of comments, hundreds of comments on these. Well, what's the price? What's the location? What's the neighborhood? Right? Whatever. Well, then from there, then she has a DM follow-up process. Now she has an admin running this for now, but when you start off, it might be you running this. But then okay, you got this follow-up protocol that's going on. And the follow-up protocol goes for, a certain period of time. And for her, it's a long period of time with a lot of follow-ups and whatever. Like her assistant first asked her, like, are you sure you want me to send them again? Like, we send them a lot of messages. Yeah, like that's the game of the game. Like we keep, and again, still send them things of value, but like leading that process to convert them into customers and to convert them into clients. So this is where we got to chunk down this whole process. But then I asked her, I said, "Oh, man, this is just amazing. You got it's free. Got to the point with a couple of assistants now. Now, if she didn't have assistants, this would take her about 2 hours a day to manage everything. But she's got, two of her admin running it for her. So now she doesn't do anything until they become a client, right? Or until they're ready to meet for a consultation. So she's completely hands off. But let's just say, okay, you got 2 hours a day that you're having to invest in this if you don't have the assistance. But you got people coming to you saying, hey, I want to buy and sell real estate. I asked her, I said, how long has it been since you had to pick up the phone and like, lead gen or, whatever, like just even lead vault like via the phone? She's like, maybe 7, 8 years. How long has you been having to do an open house? About 8 years. Right. All these are people coming to her, not costing a penny. They already know her. They like her. They trust her. I mean, it's one of the best ways to go out there and build business, inbound attraction based, strategies like she's done, which is a dream way. I think all of us can agree that we love business and to go out there and make 50 grand a month from just this one strategy. Again, this isn't counting like past client, repeat referral business, other things that she's doing. She's making more than that overall, but that's just from this group. An average, so I think any of us could agree that that's a freaking amazing way of doing business. I want that. So then I asked her though, I said, well, how long did it take you of working this group, building this stuff up, posting consistently, doing all the things that you're doing with the faith that this was going to pay off? How long did it take before things like you started seeing consistent business coming in from this source? 2 years. Now, part of that was she had to like, okay, if you or I were going to go do this strategy, okay, we could reverse engineer what she's done. Maybe it only takes us 1 year or whatever, but okay, it took her 2 years. So it's 2 years of working at this, knowing that this was eventually going to pay off. 2 years of consistently posting and working the hell out of this group and growing the group and doing all that before it got good. Everybody sees the Nalika today making 50 G's a month on average from a free Facebook community group where people are coming to her. She's not having to chase, right? It's just a great way of doing business. They want that, but they're not willing to put in the 2 years to go out there to create the foundation to have that take place. But okay, if I want to do that group, like if you're not willing to give it the 2 years, okay, don't put in the energy and effort into it then, right? Like if you're just going to do it for 6 months and then bail, well, you just wasted 6 months. So you could have allocated your time on something different. So again, make sure, and everything's going to have different timelines, whether you're building a Facebook group, whether they're doing paid Facebook or Google pay-per-click ads, whether they're doing open houses, whether they're doing Zillow, or you're doing, Realtor.com, or you're cold calling, or everything is going to have different timelines. Prospecting based activities are typically quicker timelines. More inbound, marketing based stuff is going to be a longer timeline. But make sure that you know what that timeline is. You make sure that you know what the exact strategy is. That's your effective plan. So you're not going to guess on this stuff. You're going to go out there and do your due diligence. Take a week, do your due diligence, reverse engineer what you must do. So that's going to save you a ton of time, energy, and pain, right? So okay, now I've got this strategy. Okay, then ask yourself, what are the skill sets that I need to go out there and dial in? And that might be very, very little. If you're doing a Facebook group, right? Okay, maybe I need to have a skill set of how to go have a conversation with the business owners. Maybe I have to have a skill set of how to, do the Facebook messages in the proper way and drop Facebook, VMs, voice message, whatever. Like it's going to be with that strategy, it's lesser of a skill set, per se. But one of the skill sets is, okay, how do I manage these 100 leads coming in every single day, or these 100 comments, that are happening on all these posts? So okay, we're gonna identify the right strategy, your overall effective plan. We're gonna identify what is the skill set and or skill sets that I need to dial in that I don't already have that allow me to optimize my strategy plan. Okay, then what are the systems and processes that I need to put in place, to maximize, my conversions with this thing? And a big portion of that is the systems and processes are going to be around the follow-up. Right. Much more so than usually the upfront systems and processes. Then from there, over time, if I want to keep growing and scaling this, okay, what are the leverage pieces? Because if you look at like Nalika, when you're doing, let's just say 8 closings a month as an individual agent, Well, like you get to a point where you can't keep it all together and have a life. And her family's really important to her. She also has to travel a lot. So I mean, she does 70 plus units a year working part-time. But because that she's added that final component, which is leverage. So all she has to do is she does a buyer consultation. Then she's got licensed boots on the ground admin, or licensed boots on the ground assistants, if you will, for all the showings, like anything that needs to happen with getting into properties. She's got that delegated out. So essentially she's doing the consultation and then doing the contract negotiations. Then she has transaction coordinators, right? So she has, I don't know, I think based on what she told me, 4 full-time, 2 part-time staff members. So these aren't agents where she's having to do a 50-50 split. These are all staff. So her margins are much higher. But eventually, for her to create not only great income, but allow it where she can, I mean, she takes more vacations in a year than I've taken in my lifetime, so to allow her the lifestyle that she wanted, she eventually needed to get that leverage component dialed in. Because remember, it is a strategy, skill set, process system, leverage game that we are playing. The more that you can hone that in, the more that you can master that, the more success that you're going to have. So make sure that you're not being impatient. You're being patient with this stuff. Things take longer than we would like, takes longer than we anticipate, but be patient. It's one of the most important, essential things that you must master and learn to create long-term lasting success inside your real estate business. So I hope this was helpful. Again, if you want to learn more about partnering with me here at EXP, where you get 100% full free access to all my coaching, all my training, all my support, as well as my business partner, Mike Sherrard's coaching, training, support, there's going to be a link below where you can schedule a 100% confidential, 100% zero pressure Zoom call with me personally, where I'm going to walk you through, here's everything that we do, here's everything how we work, how we operate, here's all the coaching, training, systems, processes, support that we provide to ensure you're crushing your real estate goals, answer any questions that you have. And at the end of that call, if you think it's fit for you, great. If not, that is okay too. You have my word. I'm not here to try to push you, not here to pressure you. I want to roll with people that want to roll with me. So I'm not going to try to talk you into it, right? If you're not sold on it, if this isn't the place for you, then it's not the place for you, right? So if it's not for you, we can still be friends. You have my word on that. All right, so hope again that this was helpful. There's going to be that link below in the show notes or the description. You guys keep crushing, keep kicking ass, and I will see you next time. Peace.